Naming is the first concept that I want to cover with you right now about branding, naming. And what you need to know about naming is this: that whatever your products and services are and the company name that you choose, etc., I'm going to give you some powerful concepts to understand so that you can really tap into, again, building 5 grand, 10 grand, 25 grand programs and services, and teaching you the most powerful concepts that no one is teaching you today on how to control marketplaces with branding, and more specifically around naming. Please write this down right now. A key market traction principle for this related to branding is this: you want to be able to hang all the key attributes of your program or service, specifically the positioning aspects of whatever it is that sets you apart with any given program or service, that's tied into the emotion that you want to convey to your target market. Remember, your target market primarily buys for 2 reasons. Remember, and they're all subjugated to this concept right here. The features of your program and service that you create is the system that you establish. And what people really want from your system, that is, what is your system? And the benefits, that's the first thing that people want, the benefits. What will your system do for them? And more specifically, what advantage will it give them in the marketplace? So let's understand some powerful concepts around naming. And I want to use this example first of all. I've got before me here 2 companies that I think are great companies. Tim Hortons, very popular in Canada and the northern US, a coffee chain, and another very popular coffee chain that I love to go to also. Starbucks, 2 coffee cups, and a third one I don't have here today, and that is Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is continuing to grow around the Great Lakes and Detroit. They're continuously expanding. And I want you to evaluate those 3 company names. Which company name has the stronger brand? Let me tip my hat and tell you Starbucks has the top brand, and then Tim Hortons, and then Dunkin' Donuts. Why? For the following reasons. You always want to make sure that you create a brand, and with your naming, first of all, the naming should be simple, should be easy to remember, should be easy to spell, it should be a real word, and should never be definitive or locked into a category like Dunkin' Donuts. As soon as you use that, someone's mind cannot grasp anything beyond donuts. It's that picture. Remember, you control marketplace, and we'll have more to say about this. You control marketplaces by creating word pictures that are associated with the emotions that you want to convey. And so Dunkin' Donuts is the least effective brand because it locks people in. And here's a fundamental concept that I want you to understand: that when you're choosing a brand name, you always want to make sure that it has a secondary meaning. So Dunkin' Donuts, it's hard to get a secondary meaning from that. However, Tim Hortons is a much better name. It's actually the name of a hockey player, Tim Hortons. But it's hard to get a secondary name out of Tim Hortons. However, Starbucks is a much more powerful brand. You're not locked into a specific category with that name. And it can be used in a secondary way where you get to control that. If you walk into a Starbucks, what do you experience? Music, couches, kind of this higher level, higher SES environment where you realize this is not just a cheap coffee spot, but it's this whole ambiance that people are conveying, that the owners of Starbucks are conveying to you. So Starbucks is a much more powerful brand. Think of 2 companies that I sometimes fly with: JetBlue versus American Airlines. Who has a powerful brand? Who has the more powerful brand? JetBlue. Why? Because there is a secondary meaning that they can use to create and tie in the benefits and the advantage of what they want to do for the marketplace. Right now, what I want to share with you is the most fundamental concept that no one is sharing today around how to use language and to control markets. I want you to, again, make sure that you take your pen and paper and continue to write, because you know that writing is the doing part of thinking. Here's the most important concept you need to know right now about controlling language, controlling markets.